really big?
No, about 8 pages. But mostly short pages. Yeah. That's our job today.
Yeah. All right, let's call to order this meeting of the Urban Renewal Agency. Thank you all for coming. Start with a roll call. Allison Vicenzi,
Lisa Garcia.
Rick Van Aiken.
Christina.
Kevin
Nelson.
Stewart.
thank you. So where's the camera here?
Julie, you're on mute.
And Julie, you're on mute.
Julie Evans is here. Thank you. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just pulling up the agenda on my phone. Oh, excellent. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, first up is the approval of the meeting minutes from June.
I'm sorry, didn't.
Yeah, I don't think we have them, so.
No, I didn't, and I apologize.
No, you're fine.
I've had a couple funerals and stuff, so. I haven't had a
No,
chance to do it this month.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't remember seeing them either, and we didn't know if we were gonna meet this month, so we'll just postpone June's approval with July's at August meeting. No problem. We don't have anything today under new business. We'll skip that section. And we will go on to old business, which is consideration of residential rehabilitation grant program guidelines. We have an updated version. Was everyone able to see that updated version as of yesterday?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So we can start with any public comment on 4A. And if you, I have a roll call here, so if you'd like to come up, get an extra pen. Thank you. So if you'd like to come up, please state your name, address, and then comments, and we'll set a timer for 3 minutes this time.
Okay, I'll sign in after that, so not
Okay,
into my 3 minutes.
perfect. You still have to say your name first, though,
Okay,
for the.
my name's Tom Blue Rock, 122.5 South Second Street, downtown Livingston. And I think as you all know, I've developed some housing in the downtown area. And currently doing a project that's doing some meetings. So I've got some idea of sort of what things cost and how things can get done. I just have several comments. My main comment is, I think sort of after doing this a few times and looking at another couple of projects, mine being sort of four units where I'm trying to be as economical as possible on a standard city lot. I also have some sort of anecdotal numbers from the granary, which is just finishing up and evidently rented out almost immediately at about $1,800 a month. And my comment really has to do with your grant structure. I would encourage you to make that grant structure lower on a per unit basis and make it sort of less dependent on what being done as just from the creation of a unit, however it happens. I would put it closer to 50,000 rather than 250, and here's the reason. That could be 15 to 20% of the total project cost. If you had that, if you could take 20% off those market rents, and that would be the incentive for taking that grant. I think you could do more for doing that. Doing it with a say a low basic number that could be increased rather than a high basic number that could be lowered. And for example, if you could take 20% off that 1,800, it would be to everybody's benefit. you would use that, somehow structure that so it lowers the rent or lowers the cost to the consumer.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, as I understand it, you have something like 400K a year, depending on, you could bond for that or do any number of things with that. But, it would also allow you to maybe subsidize more units or encourage more units. And I'm certainly thinking that at a number like that, it would, as a developer, it would be a big encouragement to me. And would be enough of an incentive where I would go for it. Absolutely go for it. I wouldn't need that higher number to do it. So anyway, I think you've made some really good changes. I'm really glad that you guys are focused on this. And I think it's just if we're going to provide more affordable housing, it's going to need some help. It just isn't going to happen through the private market.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's
Thank you.
my comment on what you guys have changed.
Can I ask you a couple of questions, Tom?
You can ask me as many as you want. Oh, here, I better wait. So, yeah.
Yes, I was. Be careful. when you say
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
One is, I wanted to ask you, where are the other units that you're developing?
They're on D Street,
D Street,
Just outside the URA, unfortunately.
across the street from it.
right over
Or
here,
I'd be in here next week, assuming this gets done.
right over here. Okay.
Anyway. I mean, it's worth it to me to do it. What I'm probably gonna do there, it's gonna be a different level of affordability. So I think I can develop that. It's gonna be at about $250 a unit all in. Which is, I think is about as low as you're gonna go. And I've got a lot of advantages being an architect, and I do a lot of my own project management and stuff, but let's just say that somebody could do it for maybe 30, some percentage more than that.
Sure.
What I've got that structured so I could sell 2 duplexes for about the price of a normal lot, about $500,000. So, but you get 2 units for that. So somebody could buy that. They're going to be like 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. Very simple. But you could use the other unit to subsidize your mortgage. So you buy a duplex for that. So that's kind of what makes that more affordable. And that, I think I'm going to be able to sell those all day long, but I only have 2 of them. I'm not a big guy.
The other question, the other question I had was, are you thinking that one of the benefits of what you're suggesting of reducing that grant amount is will we get more bang for our buck, shall we say?
That's
or
one of the things you get from that.
and you could actually get more units built.
Right.
If we're short of units.
Yeah, I would, if somebody wants to ask for more, you give them that option, but make them justify it. Why?
Well, sorry, I would like to clarify that this doesn't mean we automatically, it's the same with facade grant. So even if they request 250,000 because it was $500,000 to make the unit, we, as the board, would vote on how much we would give, and it could be 50,000 based upon all the different project criteria that we're going to score in the matrix, and then also the other requests out there.
It's just that 250, once you put that number out there, it kind of gets legs. And I would just say work up, don't work down. And you could work it the same way. You could say like a minimum of 50,000. And if somebody had a reason to convince you that it was worth more to do that, but like.
But some of these units don't need as much work as new development. So then they wouldn't need 50,000. So we wouldn't want to automatically be giving minimum of 50,000 if they needed 20,000 per unit.
Well, no, if you're producing, I mean, this would be for producing a unit that didn't exist. It's not for like rehabbing.
Yes, and so I think that
And I
we'll
think,
address that when we get to the URA board comment section, because I have I have an overall comment about that.
okay, but yeah, I mean, if you have to build something or create something that isn't there, I mean, you're going to be doing a major project, and it's not gonna, it would be hard to do that for much less than that. You know, we have, as I understand it, and this is anecdotal, I don't know this for a fact, but I think the granary was about $200 a square foot. Give or take change. I'm doing mine for a little less than that, but I've got a few advantages in the way I work that does that. And I just don't think you could create a unit, even if it was rehab, and that's rehab, it's costing more than new construction.
But there were existing.
and,
units.
They
Yeah,
weren't-
and
they're-
again,
that-
it's-
Rehab of a building.
it's 50% max of the cost up to
Oh, this-
250,000.
Yeah,
There he is. I won't even comment on it.
yeah.
No, I just got some anecdotal rumors, so you've got better information.
Yeah.
So I mean, per unit, it's gonna be hard to bring in a unit for much less than this. If starting from scratch, you know, if it's, I think if you're rehabbing a unit, I don't think that's what you should be after. I think you should be after the creation of new housing units, because that's certainly what we need in town.
Well,
for
but
the-
that being said, the district of the Urban Renewal Agency doesn't leave a lot of space for new development. It's mostly existing buildings. So the idea is to
Oh, I don't think
insert.
that's true. I don't think that's true at all. Actually, I've been looking at a couple of the industrial towel building. I actually took a look at that just for fun. You could build about 20 units there. Those could be, depending on how you built them, either luxury units or affordable units. Now, for example, if you gave a $50,000 subsidy to like 5 of those units or 10 of those 20 units, you'd have however many affordable units you would have, and that could happen in a large building.
Right.
So I think there
Thank
are a
you.
lot of opportunities in the downtown for some significant redevelopment.
And again, I'm not trying to say that there's not, but the intent of this is to, you know, in my mind, is my understanding, and is to spur, you know, redevelopment and creation of affordable housing within possibly existing buildings or smaller, what would be the word?
Do we care how those units are
insertions.
created?
I would say we care about time to market, and if it's,
Yeah.
and if it could be done faster by using the existing second floor units, of which we know at least 20 that may be ready to start moving, then we would rather start with those while we also look towards the future of new development, which can
I
be a
don't
longer
think-
time frame.
Frankly, I don't think it could be done. I don't think there's a huge time difference in bringing those things to market. No, if you have to completely renovate derelict space, which is kind of what we're talking about, you're not going to save a lot of time over new construction.
Well, we're accepting.
Yeah, we're
applications
accepting
for-
both.
I know,
Yeah.
I could see that, and I think that's an improvement to the
For
original thing. I mean, the more avenues that you provide to produce housing units, the better.
Right.
So anyway,
Thank you.
that's my,
I
that's,
appreciate, I really appreciate the data points as well, because that's helpful for us.
yeah, I mean,
To hear directly.
I just, sort of looking at what would be useful to me.
Yeah.
For whatever I might. Like, I wouldn't give myself a grant on what I have already done. Because there are luxury units and for sale. And there's plenty of money in there to make that deal work. What you're trying to do is subsidize the creation of affordable units, and that's a whole different kettle of fish. Okay. Thanks for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, thank
It's
you
a-
for being part of it.
It's a good,
Excited to see what happens.
well, let's see what happens.
Great. Any other public comment in the room for today?
I have to leave in about 15 minutes. But I'll listen to
Okay, yeah, we'll try and get
whatever.
going. Any public comment online?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. You can just
Hello.
state your
Hi there.
name and address for the records, please.
This is Leslie Feigl. I'm the CEO of the Livingston Chamber of Commerce here in town. And there was just one thing that I find that is missing from your project funding page. In almost any of the grants that you'll find around the states that are available for different funding criteria, they do have who else you're getting the funding from. If you have multiple grants coming in to do the same project, here you just simply have listed how much the project overall. One thing that you want to know is if per se they're getting a couple other grants. A lot of these little smaller projects, again, I kind of agreed there with the other gentleman, but on having that 250,000 per unit cost in there. But when it comes to the project funding, you definitely want to know if there are other funding mechanisms that are going to be used. And I think that's missing from the application. I myself filled out many of these, everything from tourism ones to different projects here in the state of Montana. And if you look at them, they use like a matrix. It comes across kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, and it has different columns for where the different funding, private funding, state funding, different grants, so that you can look at the overall project and know that what you're going to be allocating is going to be a worthy part of that project. So that was just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay. Any other public comment online? Okay, thank you. Public comment is now closed for this, and we will open up to board comments before Ed.
You want me to start?
I feel like I always go first, so I'm not gonna go first.
I'll just give an overview. So the main changes are underlined, and some of the big ones we notice are allowing newer infill in addition to rehab, measuring the AMI according to the HUD. Just noting that the enforcement, which has come up in the past, that will be covered by the URA, and that is covered in section D5 when we are able to ask for project records on these builds and receive them within 5 days. So that is for pre-construction, during construction, post-construction for the projects that we are funding. We further defined what a residential unit is, and we adjusted some of the timelines to allow for a little bit longer of a build time, because we heard 1 year from completion from the award date was too soon. So now project must start within 6 months and finish within 1 year of that. Everything else, pretty much will be covered in the owner participation agreements, which we don't include that here because that will be determined with each project. We will enter into, I'm sure, a memorandum of understanding, and then the owner participation agreement where all the exact terms will be ironed out. And that would be, for example, where we would address the potential to extend a time frame, and the board, would eventually maybe have to vote on that if that were ever to happen. That was clear, something that happened during COVID, build times were extended. And so we can, basically what I'm saying overall is we hope to receive applicants, approve awards for grants, and then also be in communication with these projects on an ongoing basis. And then each agreement will address the terms. My thoughts on the 250,000 were that we're not saying here how many people are per unit. So if someone's building a 4-bedroom unit, they should have a different funding rate than someone with a studio apartment, for example. And however, it got a little complicated thinking about how to word that here of saying per person, because who are we to say how many people they put in the unit? So I think we left it vague on purpose. I see both sides to that. I'm curious to see who applies, how much they're asking for, how much these projects are going to be costing, both the rehab, because we do have, like I said, almost 20 units that may be ready to go on this on a rehab basis on 2nd and 3rd floors. And then also new development and figuring out, how to have that balance. And then just another statement is that moving forward, we will be able to adjust this document for a future round. I do believe we are hoping to roll this out on a limited time frame per Lisa's comment from last time, just to really get applicants in by a certain window so that we can review and then discuss how to adjust going forward. Those are my main thoughts. Right?
Okay. Maybe I'm going at this wrong, but there were just various places in here where I had questions arise in my own mind. For example, the last line of 2A1, the very bottom line, where it says further each unit shall have city utility service as well as functioning shower, sink, and toilet. And I went, is that all we're gonna require of them? That sounds like a motel.
The decision was to not include a definition for kitchen because we know, for example, that Albemarle has efficiency kitchens and that's a hot plate and a mini fridge. And it just gets complicated. I don't know if there's like a universally accepted definition of kitchen.
Okay.
So that's the reason. It's not, I'm hoping they have kitchens, but we're just not trying to rule out a studio like that, which has been effective for the Albemarle for now.
A place to wash dishes and a place to cook.
Well, and we have sink.
Yeah, I've seen it done that.
Okay, thank you.
Should be a big bathroom sink then.
Okay, that's all very helpful.
I
Thank
couldn't
you.
wash dishes in my bathroom sink. Then 2A3, when we say contractual care and control of subject property for a period of not less than 10 years, is that, are we clear that that's from the time that, because we're looking for stability or extension out into the future for our own benefit. Set 10 years from when? Because they could have already helped and been had the unit for 10 years or the building for 10 years. See what I mean?
Sure.
So.
I think,
So I want to clarify that a little.
I would suggest, it's 10 years from certificate of occupancy associated with the work completed.
okay,
Okay. Sounds good.
I like.
nice. Okay,
Let me see. So then this. Okay, I guess to me, A4, there's just a lining there that it isn't clear to me. The projects must have been issued building permit not more than 30 days prior. Projects that have not been issued a building permit are eligible to apply. But when do we require them to have a building permit?
I think just before they begin construction. And imagine most of the projects will not have a building permit yet. And the purpose of 2A4,
That'll be, that's actually a city function.
right,
And
that's sort of
it's-
out of
It's
our,
gonna happen, it's not within our, okay.
yeah, but that's a good point because I believe that Julie had brought up a point for 2A4. The reason it's 30 days, we're trying to really assist projects that would not perhaps go forward without this grant funding. And in that case, it's not something that's already been built, already in motion, and then they're just trying to get some money back. It's saying this is helping them move forward. And in that case, 30 days seems like, an appropriate time frame. So we're not going back in time.
So,
Sorry.
so in the application process, I want to understand that clearly. In the application process, they apply to, let's say they want to renovate a half a dozen units. Is that, do they apply per each one of those units or apply for the project?
For the project. And part of the criteria of this, that we'll score is how many units are being created.
Just updated that much, so. The only other thing I had a question about was, in the evaluation criteria, help me understand when you, one of the criteria is residential units brought to market. What exactly does brought to market mean? As opposed to return to market, I guess.
Yes,
'Cause we-
that change was specifically to allow for new development. So
Okay.
the term we heard last month was net new.
Units
Units.
that are being, units that would be returned to market would be units that had been, let's say, had been available, but they shut them down for a while to work on them, and then they return them. I'm just wondering I guess I'm wondering why we had to scratch returned, couldn't be returned or I don't know.
Oh, you could include both.
What if they had this vacation rental and brought it back as residential and then?
I think brought encapsulates both. That's interesting. Yeah, I think it was to have a bigger term to incorporate both.
Yeah.
And not create any preference for either or.
Right.
But I
Okay.
agree with your point. And
Okay,
I wonder about your point too,
and then.
because that would be a win for the housing market.
Not to drag it out any longer, I just have one place down here where it looks like to me like needs to be corrected. We have under project commencement.
Yeah,
It still says 90 days.
yeah, I saw that, yeah, okay.
And
So,
it's 180 now, right?
yep. Yep, if you all feel good about the 180, that's 6 months about. Good call, thank you very much.
Hello, Rick, what do you,
I'm sorry.
are you good?
I think so. As I was saying, I guess I started to say, my question is, I tend to go through like a document like this and kind of go, okay, does this make sense to me?
Right,
But I don't have, I guess I don't feel like I have the insight to understand the fallout. That's why I was appreciating some of the stuff that Tom was talking about.
absolutely. Agree with you there.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Not many comments from me. I think I sent a lot of comments via email that have been addressed in this, especially some of the additional definitions around affordability and extending the stage, which we heard a lot about in the public comments last go around. The only thing I wanted to have, so I guess I would say I'm ready to like motion to approve this document. Like I hope we can move it
Whoa,
forward.
whoa, whoa.
No, not motion. I said I'm ready to. I didn't say I'm motioning, Kevin. Board comments aren't over. That would be my wish. But yeah, the only other thing I wanted us to chat about, I guess, outside of the document itself was the application window that you mentioned. If we want to determine that today, I don't know if we do. But might be something for us to chat about separate of the document itself, just so we know when we're going to kick it off.
Absolutely.
That's all for me.
Kevin or Julie, do you have any comments?
I do, just a couple. I was wondering if, and I apologize, I am kind of in my car. But I was wondering if there could be just a little blurb of language added kind of in an effort to, offset the costs associated with the type of housing that I believe we're trying to get, which are kind of getting some affordable housing units in these older buildings and aiding in the, just the inherent costs associated with bringing those buildings up to code, whether it's via, life safety stuff, fire safety, vertical circulation, those things, kind of in an effort to offset those costs associated with this type of housing. Priority might be given to those things over, finishes and cabinets and the other things that kind of come along with them. So that was one comment. And then the other one is something I'm encountering a lot lately. It's the use of the word attainable housing versus affordable housing, because affordable housing has started to become a bit of a hot button phrase. I'm fine with it, but I just wanted to put it out there and see what everybody thought.
Are there any definitions given for attainable housing?
Let me see if I can pull up this little thing I found. If not, I think we should stick with affordable, but just kind of put a note in there that maybe that might open up for modification in the future or something like that. But let me look in on that and you guys can discuss other stuff. Those are the only comments I had.
Awesome.
I
At
just
or
have,
below, sorry, it just says, oh, no, sorry, that's affordable. Never mind.
this is Julie. I just have one comment, and it's in section 3B, project evaluation reimbursement. I think we just need to also here say 250,000 or whatever our number is per unit, because we don't specify it in that table.
Oh, yep. Under the criteria. Okay. Good catch. Thank you.
Sure. And that's all I have.
Great. Okay. Waiting on Kevin for the definition, but I would go ahead and put a motion to approve this document with some of the stated changes. Do I have to say exactly what those are for the record? Okay.
Yeah, I motion.
The changes I would like to include from everyone here are, I'm okay. I think it's a good idea to say a place to wash dishes and a place to cook, if that is universally recognized language, adding that to the section. Sorry, I'll be very specific on this to make it as easy as possible. That's 2A1. And on, I should have been writing this as we went. Okay, 2A3, period of 10 years from certificate of occupancy associated with the work completed. That's good. And okay, great. And then just the catches in the table. So project evaluation criteria saying $250,000 per unit, and project commencement within 180 days of award. And yeah, those for sure. I like the idea of having that in an effort to offset costs associated, and think that that might fit in like either at the very beginning or 2A2. So that said, I would motion to approve this document for the pilot with those changes. And then separately would like to discuss the application window and then an idea Julie had brought up of an overview / executive summary for people to really be able to understand what we're putting out to the public without, just the same with facade grant, the way we have like a 1-pager. And we could agree upon that separate, I would say.
So it's a
I hope
motion.
someone does, don't leave me hanging.
Seconded.
Okay. So let's vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you all. This is done. We're putting it out there and
35-minute meeting.
we will, adjust as needed, but we are, and my thoughts on the application window, I think are aligned with yours of have it out for the August, September meeting into October and then review by the October meeting. And hopefully we have a good amount of information and applications by then. And I think that probably means we won't meet in between with each applicant. Like, we'll just wait and have everyone come plan for the October meeting. And then we'll try and reach out to the enterprise to get a write-up about this to really help spread the word, as well as putting it on the URA website.
Amazing.
Okay. Thank you all. And
Awesome.
let's go back to any other public comments. Any further board comments?
Oh, I went down a rabbit hole, unattainable. It's tied to AMI and market rate housing and that kind of deal. And I don't think that's the intent here. So I'm glad we stuck with affordable.
Yes, I think when we were reviewing this, it's both making the units affordable and then also the AMI goes into seeing who's renting those apartments and if they
Right.
are within a certain median value. We didn't specify which for this project yet because it will go into that scoring rubric. If they're creating certain level of affordability versus another one, then that will help us decide who to give the grant money to and how much.
Mm-hmm.
But we're leaving it just as a little bit more vague to start to see what's out there. Okay. Thank you. All, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So this meeting is adjourned. We will meet on the 4th Tuesday of August. In the same place, same time. Thank you all
Awesome.
very much.
Thanks for letting me call in, guys.
Glad, go home safely. Thank you for calling.
All right. Bye,
Thank you,
y'all.
Julie.
Really.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.